it needs to have, and it doesn't take user experience into account. All the sort of websites are written just using HTML without any CSS or JavaScript. Now, HTML will give your website a basic structure, but again, it will not look like a modern website. The look and feel will not be that good, and you'll not be as happy as you want to be as a web developer. So you should use CSS to style your websites. If you want to have borders, if you want to have animations, if you want to have different sort of colors in the background, in the border, and in the navigation bar, if you want to resize your images, CSS is the thing for you. CSS stands for Cascading Style Sheets, and all it does is style your web pages which are written using HTML. So you have an HTML tag, and that HTML tag can be styled using CSS if you target that HTML properly. So I might say that all the TDs in my table should be of color red and the background should be yellow. Now this might not look very good, but I just want to give you an example. So I can write some CSS like this, and I can target different types of elements using IDs, using classes. We'll see all this in action in our videos, so you don't have to worry much about this. It just makes a website beautiful and modern looking. You just have to understand this much for now. Now let's go into the role of JavaScript. JavaScript is a client-side dynamic interpreted programming language, which means that once HTML, CSS is received by your browser, what you can do is you can respond to user events. If a user clicks on something, if a user submits a form, or maybe a user drags an item to some other div or other container for that matter, you can respond to all those events using JavaScript programming. So the JavaScript program is written inside JavaScript, and it is embedded inside HTML, and even the CSS is embedded inside HTML. So your HTML contains JavaScript as well as the CSS. Both of these things are contained inside HTML. We'll see how all this happens, but for now, just remember that JavaScript is used for client-side scripting. Client-side scripting, that's it. Now the most important part, role of Django. What is the role of Django? Why do you want to use Django if HTML, CSS and JavaScript is all required to create a website? Why do you want to use Django? I'll tell you why you want to use Django. If you manually create HTML, CSS and JavaScript for all the possible client requests, it will get very exhaustive and very cumbersome for you to generate HTML, CSS and JavaScript manually and keep it on the server. What I mean by that is, let us say you have a blog and you have 2000 blog posts. Now 2000 blog posts are written by most of the bloggers in 3 to 4 years, so it's not a big deal. Now if you keep 2000 static pages in your web server, that's not a reliable way. Let us say you keep these 2000 pages in the form of static HTML pages in your server, and one day you think of restructuring your website. Will you go to all these 2000 pages and change the content one by one? Definitely you don't want to do that manually or programmatically. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is store the content of your blog inside a database, have some sort of database manager, and have some sort of CMS or a framework like Django in place which can simply do all these stuffs for you. Now this was one of the examples. There are many other reasons that you should go for a framework like Django. One of which is using machine learning libraries that are already available in Python, and many other image processing libraries which are already available in Python. Now why use Django and what is Django? If somebody asks me what is Django, I say it's a high level Python web framework. What do I mean by high level? High level means that you don't have to go into details. You just tell in a very layman terms to Django what to do. By layman terms, I mean layman in programming. So if you want to run a database query, you can just say that I want to insert this in database. You can simply use the Django's built-in ORM, and simply you can read, write, update, and do all sort of CRUD operations in the database. This simply makes things easy for you, and a web framework will do all these things for you, and it will be very easy to maintain huge websites. So you can, do this rapid development in a clean and pragmatic design. Okay, so this is one of the reasons. Second reason is it has a lot of built-in tools. For example, you want to create a authentication system. Do you want to create an authentication system from scratch if you want to quickly build a website and secure website? What if you make a mistake while creating an authentication system? Your website might get hacked. So what you want to do is you want to use Django's auth system, which is already built into Django. So this is one of the reasons you want to use Django. Another reason you want to use Django is models. You don't want to, go to the database and write the tables. You want Django to take care of that, and Django takes care of that in a very secure and optimized fashion. So this was another reason to use Django. Now you can focus on writing your app without needing to reinvent the wheel. As I already told you that if you want to say create an authentication system, you don't want to create it. You can use Django's built-in authentication system or serializer or whatever. You can simply use the things that are already built in Django, and you can also plug somebody else's app or somebody else's module which somebody else has created for you. You can simply plug it in your Django application and it works just fine. Another most important reason is that it's free and open source. It's free, absolutely free. You don't have to pay a penny for this, and it's open source, which means that 24/7 developers are working to make it even better and better. And with that we come to our next point, which is it's fast, secure and scalable. With fast, I mean that it has a very fast speed. You will not find the mistakes that common web developers make in Django, because it has already evolved over the period of years and it is getting better and better. Secondly, it is secure because you get that security built in using the Django's auth system. If you create an auth system from scratch, you might, commit a mistake in doing that and your website might get hacked. But if you go for Django, the auth system is already very secure. Now, coming to the third point, which is scalability. If you get 2 to 3 billion users, then you might get into trouble if you are using some sort of unmanaged way of serving data. If you use a framework like Django, it really makes it simple and easy for you to serve content and maintain scalability at the same time. I hope this discussion was very useful for you. If it was, let me know in the comments. In our future videos, we'll be creating a lot of projects, so you don't have to worry about how these things work in action. I'm not a person who will just tell you what HTML is, CSS is and JavaScript is without making any project. I'll step by step walk you through the entire process. But before that, I want you to access this playlist if you haven't already. You can go to my channel and you can click on playlist. There are many people who are asking me that how much Python do I need to get started with this free Django course. I would say you can watch this Learn Python in one video and it should be enough for you to get started. And as and when we create projects, I'll be telling you how things are working, what all you need to, make things work, and how you can take your skills to next level if you want to build something more complicated than what we will build in this entire course. With that said, I want you to like this video, and if you haven't already accessed the playlist, just access it, bookmark it, save the playlist. Thank you so much guys for watching this video, and I will see you next time.